Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I have a scrapbook process video featuring the Erica Rose online store. Today I'm going to be playing with the One Fall Day kit. This is a Bella Boulevard themed kit. You get all of the supplies that I'm going to show you here in real time, including 3 single page layouts where you're going to get the photo and the instructions on how to recreate them yourself. For today, I am going to kind of just go rogue and do my own thing. I love fall collections, but we don't really get fall where I live, or at least we don't seem to have very many fall activities. So I kind of had to dig deep into my photos to come up with something that I felt like would work with my style and this kit. So as I'm going through everything, I'm really kind of looking at the overall colors, I'm looking at the patterns that I'm drawn to, kind of just trying to work out a plan in my mind and paying attention to the things that I am initially finding myself drawn to. And again, I did not look at the 3 layouts that come in the class kit. I didn't want to kind of be influenced on anything that Erica had designed, so I wanted to just kind of infuse my style and techniques that work for me and kind of see what I could come up with. So the fall photos that I found, we had 1 year where we carved pumpkins. We quickly figured out that we are not a pumpkin carving family. Maybe now that my kids are older, but we don't get very many trick-or-treaters, so it would really just be for us to look at the pumpkin, like nobody else would really see it. And we tend to actually go to somebody else's house for Halloween. So lots of kind of different reasons why we sort of never revisited this this past time. This year I made sure I only bought the 1 pumpkin because I really wasn't sure how my kids were going to respond. They both absolutely hated the texture of getting everything out of the pumpkin. So we let my husband handle that. My husband and I took turns like poking the holes in everything just to kind of get a simple design made. I think in the end, everybody was more excited about the roasted pumpkin seeds than the actual pumpkins. So thus, I only have the 1 year of us carving pumpkins. And to add to that, my photos were not great. I think I took them on my phone. It was kind of twilight. We don't have like great lighting on our back patio. So when I run into that kind of an instance, photo template is sort of the first thing that jumps into my mind. It's a method that's going to allow me to use as many photos as I want to use while also sizing them down and cropping them in a way where you can still see everything that's going on, but they don't need to be super detailed. If something's out of focus, I don't notice it as much in a photo collage because I'm kind of looking at everything overall. So I did design my layers around the size of my photo collage. I kind of just picked my favorite colors or favorite patterns that I wanted to have, at the top, which for me is going to be those B-sides. I don't normally gut the inside of my papers, but as you saw, I did go ahead and gut the inside of that like teal cloud paper because I knew that if I go back and I use the pre-cut file that comes in this kit, it's like a really cute wreath with leaves and there's some single leaves. I know that I'm going to want to have as many colors as possible that coordinate with this line to back those leaves with. So anything that I was sort of hesitant to use the whole sheet, I just made sure that I gutted it or I trimmed the layers down to where I still had some leftovers. I think my base page, I didn't end up gutting that one. I think the opposite side of that was one that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards. So instead I used that busy A side to kind of have this fun frame, and that fun frame is going to allow a lot of the different colors to kind of show through without being like really loud. I have found that if I'm going to use an A side, I like it in this instance where you're seeing some of it just kind of peeking around the edge and it's sort of bringing together all of the colors that are involved together. When I went through the die cut pack, I just kind of do a sort like I tend to do. I will sort of immediately pull out things that either are not on theme with my photos, or maybe they're too large for the design that I'm going for, the wrong orientation. And I just kind of start picking things that I think are going to work. I pulled out a bunch of pumpkins, because it's a pumpkin carving layout. I think I ended up just using the one that I nestled on the left side. And basically, I just arranged a bunch of leaves and a couple acorns, going a little bit on the left and a little bit on the right of my collage, and just kind of like almost like hugging it. Basically, I'm just going to have like those two clusters, and then I'm going to do something a little interesting with the title. And the title can kind of serve the purpose of that like third cluster that you typically see. I've said before, I don't always follow this like rule of 3 clusters. I put things where I like them, and that works for me. I kind of have adopted this whole I do me, you do you, and everybody's happy. Everybody likes their end result. I do say, obviously try things out. If you see something that you're like, man, I don't know if I like that, try it. You might decide that you like it. You might absolutely hate the process and say, I never want to do that again. In this instance, it's going to be stacked die cut letters to make a custom title. When I went through the collection, I was really excited to see that there was an alphabet included. However, the papers and the die cuts that I chose didn't have that dark blue. So I was a little worried about throwing in a color that's not showing up anywhere else on my layout. So I decided to go ahead and just do these stacked die cut letters that I absolutely love to do. And like I said, I enjoy this process. You may not enjoy this process. You may instead enjoy using thickers, letter stickers, pre-made titles. You do you. You like what you like. I like what I like. I will say though, if you've never tried this, to give it a try. I get asked a lot about, especially like thinner fonts and smaller fonts. My go-to answer for tips and tricks is going to be a sticky grid mat. So I like to work on that. I'll put my first layer down. I like the Barely Arts liquid glue, and I just do dots, kind of like we learned in elementary school. I do dots. I feel like it doesn't ooze out as much. It still oozes out a little bit, but I just use the edge of my tweezers or a piercing tool and just kind of scrape what I can off, and I don't really worry too much about it. The thicker, chunkier fonts, I can just stack them in my fingers. I don't necessarily feel like I need to use a mat. The nice thing about the mat is you can kind of keep them lined up. You can see your spacing. You can test it out on your layout. And you're not fiddling with individual letters. I used to use like washi tape or masking tape, and I just have kind of found myself continuing to reach for sticky mats. This is just generic mats that are designed for the Silhouette Cameo. And I buy them on Amazon. I think a 3-pack is like $11 or $12. I tend to use like 2 for my Cameo, and then I'll cut 1 to fit my Misty, and then the 2 sort of off cuts of that are what I use for things like this. And with this font especially, I like doing 3 layers of cardstock and then the layer of my pattern paper on top. I think when you've got such a thin profiled letter, doing more layers kind of helps it have more of a presence, and it just has a weightier feel to it visually and like texturally on your layout. And again, that's something that is a personal preference for me. If I had used the letter stickers, I was fully intending on putting foam adhesive behind them. But again, the color wasn't going to work out for me, so I'm just going to save them. And when I use some of the other patterns from this kit, I can go ahead and pull in the letter stickers and do something more with like foam tape behind it. So at this point, I'm happy with where things are. So I went ahead, added the glue behind all of the leaves and got those adhered to my layout. This is one of those designs that I go to, whether it's this orientation or horizontal orientation, and maybe I'll build a scene above the collage, or I'll have the collage act like a shelf to hold tags and embellishments and stuff like that. This is just a repetitive go-to design that I like, especially with photo collages. To me, it's a quick and kind of simple process, but is still visually interesting and just has a lot of fun elements going on. It allows me to use a lot of different pattern papers in a way that fits my style. And then doing my own die cut letters for a title and stuff like that is a way that I can make sure that my title is going to be cohesive and kind of match and things like that. Now, when I first pulled everything out, I like to try to see if I can make a title with what is included in a kit. I saw the phrase stickers, and so I think originally I was going to cut up some of the phrase stickers and create a title that used the word carving. In the end, I kind of end up doing this sort of like stacked, center justified type of design. And it's a little like weird if you just read the whole title together as one, but I'm kind of doing it as almost like an embellishment cluster and a title, subtitle type of thing all at once. This is what works for me. This is something that I enjoy, so this is what I go with. I did go ahead and put foam strips behind these. I wanted them to kind of be at the same level as my die cut letters and just kind of pop off the background a little bit, especially with them being the tone on tone with the orange pattern paper, and a lot of the phrases that I was picking was the orange phrases. And then I am going to type of my journaling. I did go back and I looked through the sticker sheet. I like to go and see, is there anything else that I can sort of cluster in with these leaves? And I kept going back to these little tiny baby hearts. And so I'm going to put a baby heart in each of the leaf clusters. And then I'm going to put a pink one over in my title to kind of pull in the colors that I've got going on over there. And then my journaling, I kept it simple. I didn't use my like pre-formatted journal strip PDF that I use the sentiment strip die for. If I only have a couple lines, I will just print it out, and because I've cut journaling strips like this for years, it's not a big deal for me to cut 2 or 3. It's more of when I'm cutting 15 to 20 of them that I just don't want to do it, and I will use my PDF and that die cut to kind of do the work for me. More foam tape behind the journaling so that it doesn't get lost as well. And then I went through my stash and I just wanted like a basic label to allow me an area to add my date. I actually thought I was pretty good about dating most of my layouts. I just pulled like a stack out thinking like, okay, we need to put layouts away. Let's go start filming that video. And the whole stack that I pulled out, none of them are dated. So if you ever watch a video of mine and you see that I haven't dated it, could you leave me a comment and say, hey, go back and date your layout? Okay. So here we are at the end. I got my photos, detail shots, and as always, check the description box if you're looking for links to anything I've used in the video. Otherwise, leave me a comment and I'll get back to you.